Hey everybody, I'm up at Haslemere Motorcycles again, and I have a very lucky opportunity to be one of the first people to get to ride the new Suzuki GSX-S1000GT. Now this is, kind of like an S1000 underneath, because the wheelbase is the same height, the seat height's the same, and there are some other similarities. However, beyond that, this has been changed to give a much more ergonomic feel, and seating position obviously, and it's GT, it's designed for touring. Now, because I want to get on and just ride this bike, I'm going to throw a few figures at you. It's about 11.5 grand, which is good. It's only 500 quid extra. It has got about 150 brake horsepower, 106 newton meters of torque. It comes with a quick shifter as standard, adjustable KYB suspension on the front, Brembo discs, and brakes, obviously. Yeah, it's got a lot on it. I will talk about the looks and stuff later on. We'll stop for a minute and have a little look at it. But for now, as I say, I just want to get on and ride this thing. Big 6.5-inch TFT display. Of course, this has got the clutch assist and everything that all the Suzukis do these days, so you don't have to really worry about stalling it. Quick shifter up and down. That was very smooth. Now, obviously, a big part of this bike is the comfort and ergonomics, and let's just start there. I am 6'4", so I'm a pretty big chap, and this feels pretty comfy. I'm nicely sat up straight, very little weight on my arms. I'm not having to reach too far. It feels nice. Now, obviously, I don't have this for days to be able to do proper comfort testing of long-range trips, and of course that is very important for a GT. But I can say that the seat feels a bit extra squidgy compared to some of the Suzuki seats, so that's good. Rear adjustments are a serious reach, they're way out there. Quick shifter feels very nice, as I mentioned earlier, but even at slow speeds, and I'm going to be really mean here, and get really slow in a much higher gearing. No one coming. That's actually pretty impressive. I'd call that one of the smoothest quick shifters I've used at slow speeds. I've felt other ones that feel absolutely great too. It's amazing how far they've come since the old days, of even a few years back, where they were very clunky at slow speeds, it seemed. Okay, so 70 miles an hour, 6th gear, just under 5,000 RPM. Very smooth, very few vibrations from the engine or anything, or feeling through my feet or my butt. It's good. It's got decent torque. It still rolls on in 6, even at 70. And you drop a couple of gears and all of a sudden that roll-on becomes a little bit more ferocious. Obviously today is 4 degrees. It could be icy out in places. It is a bit damp, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful. Obviously I've got the traction control and the power motor to help protect me, but you've still got to look after yourself. Obviously, 106 newton meters of torque is quite a bit. It's a decent amount. It's enough. And 150 brake horsepower is fantastic. That's all a bike like this really needs, in my opinion. You don't need to go and get 1,000 up to 200 brake horsepower, 205, 210. They kept pushing it and pushing it. Make it more torquey, make it more usable. 150, absolutely fine. Oh my god. Oh, it is absolutely freezing. Right, okay, so wind protection. For me, didn't feel it on my legs much, didn't have cold knees or anything like that, but I am feeling... Why did I use the clutch? But I am feeling that the wind is pushing into my face and my chest quite a bit, and it doesn't actually matter, with this screen anyway, how much I tuck. That's going straight into my face. As I thought that Audi was about to try and do. Did you even hear or notice I went up through 4 gears there? This bike is very quiet. Like, you really can't hear much. You can hear a rumble. And the gear changes in this quick shifter. Up, down, I have to say the The front end feel is a little different than I was expecting. Definitely feels more sort of raked in, so it feels more manoeuvrable and lighter. It doesn't feel quite like a sports bike where you have a very strong wanting to stay ahead feel. This, you know, you can feel it pivoting around it. Now this has been fitted with the tank bag adapter, and I have to say I'm quite impressed by Suzuki here. For their OEM, you know, like Suzuki bags, they've got a, I think it's a 9 litre bag for about £95 and a 11 litre bag for about 150. The attachment point for the tank bag is about 30-40 quid, something like that, so that's actually pretty fair pricing. The rear luggage, they do hard rear luggage for it as well. Now I don't know why Suzuki hasn't put this all together into a kit, but the bags themselves are about £700. The attachment method is about, because you have to buy the brackets separately, is about 160 I think. The locks separately to that are about 40, and then there's some colour splashes you can get on them and match them in that are also about 40 quid. So basically look at the rear luggage at £1,000 all in, even including those little coloured splashes to match in with the bike. Now I'm talking about the colour. It comes in 3 colours: black, dark blue, and this blue. This blue, lovely, love it. It's that nice Suzuki blue. It could have gone slightly darker, or very, very slightly darker, but it's nice, I like it. Not a massive fan of the dark blue myself, you know, because if I'm going to go that dark, I'm going to go black. Now obviously I would much prefer to be testing this when it is warm and there isn't wet roads and, you know, cold tyres and all that sort of stuff, so I can't push it that hard. And I will, maybe I'll get another go on this in the summer. Yeah, I've just got a very lucky opportunity thanks to Haslemere to get to ride one this early on. It's not too bad through here. Oh, I wasn't pushing it hard enough. If you push it a bit harder on the quick shifter, you get some nice little pongs. I do love a quick shifter when it makes the bike just that little poof. So you just hear a little boom, boom, boom. That's good. Okay, so suspension and comfort. This is actually quite a gnarly road, I know that, and rather than feeling, you know, a raw, visceral gnarliness to this surface, it feels smoothed out. The bumps seem to be taken nicely. The suspension, it feels good. It's very comfortable. It feels kind of like a fast armchair. Compared to the Hayabusa, that's the thing, because of course this is a tourer, and if you're going to go touring with a Suzuki bike, well, you've got, let's just say 3 options in 1,000. Obviously you do have other options, but let's just point these 3 out. You've got this, you've also got the V-Strom 1000, and you've got the Hayabusa. Well, the Hayabusa is not as comfy as this. You know, it's much sportier. If I was to choose between this and the Hayabusa, I would take one of these all day long. It's not a hatred of the Hayabusa necessarily, it's just, it's not for me. It's an interesting shape bike, it's big, you know, it's fun to ride and all that, and if you like one I can get it, but for me, between the two, I'd be going for this one. 226 kilos is the weight of this bike, which is fair. It's about the same as my XJ6. I mean, it looks a lot bigger and wider than my XJ6, and it's also 1,000. Now, admittedly, that's something a misconception you sometimes have, is that you think that a 1000cc engine might be heavier than a 600. Not necessarily the case, because there's bigger holes in this. So this might well be lighter than my engine. I would love if we had the heated grips option on this today, I will say, and that option is about 340 quid from Suzuki from what I've seen, if I remember rightly, but I think it's about 340. That is an expensive set of grips, but I will say that if you compare that to other brands, it's cheap, as is the Luggage. You know, £1,000 for your 2 rear boxes is cheap, with all the fitting fixtures and the splashes of colour. That is cheap. I still think it's a bit much, but it's still cheap. Sheepies! See what I mean? It's pretty quiet. Whoa! Looks. Now, in pictures, I was a little unsure at times, and what I will say is I think it looks much nicer in person. Isn't that always the way with these things? But personally, I think it's because the photographers have been taking a picture from down here, and we don't look from down here. We look from up here, and that angle down looks much nicer. Yeah, it's very solid sounding. I think plasticky. Interesting shaped indicators. Of course, they're going to be LED. Position of the mirrors, I like it. I do like them. They work well, but you really have to reach out there to adjust them. Obviously, pillion is important on this, even to the point that during one of the Suzuki ads I saw for this bike, it just had a pillion on it the whole time. So they're really pushing the pillion side. Big seat. Well, big seat in the sense it's thick. It's not a huge space. The distance between the seat and the peg isn't too close. Like some sports bikes can really cram you up. That's not too bad. But I think you definitely would want to try this out with your other half to see what the comfort's like. I am surprised how quiet this bike is. It sounds lovely, but it is very quiet. But in a touring situation, that is what you want. If you want to, you don't want to have to listen to a loud exhaust that whole way. You just want it to be quiet and out of the way and as nice as it can be. As I say, it is interesting with me, with this screen that is directly going into my face. There is no over the top of me deflection from that, and that's not adjustable at all, is it? No. You can get different screens, obviously, but it's just the angle that it pushes it right into my face. But that is something I have on all bikes, even big adventure bikes with the screens. They're never tall enough for me, so I tend to just say, look, don't ask me. I'm a giant. So looks wise, I think it looks better than it does in pictures, and for my taste, I think it looks pretty good. It's striking, it's quite unique. Okay, of course, it looks like a mix of a few other bikes together, but then by this point, a lot of bikes look like a mixture of other bikes if you really look at them. So, I mean, it goes without saying, the bike is quick. It's 1,000. Let's try a quaint little country road. I found a little quiet, darker spot so I can show you the display better. As I mentioned, this is a 6.5-inch TFT. And you can see you've got the revs over here with the speed, fuel counter down there. You've got your quick shifter on and off here. You've got a choice to turn that on and off. I'm not entirely sure why you would do that and have it such a prominent display, but it is what it is. Traction control at level 4, and then power is in B. You have, I think it's 5 modes of traction control and a few modes of the power, to give you what you want. Now, in this cold weather, medium power and decent traction control is exactly where I want it. Looking at the controls, you have a very large clutch here, which is very easy to pull. That is the Suzuki's assisted clutch, so it's very easy anyway. You've got high beam, low beam pass in a combined switch there. This is your main toggle to move around the display. OK, back, standard fare there. You've got your cruise control button over here, and obviously that looks like where you set add minus speed on your cruise control. The indicator switch is tiny, and I thought it wouldn't be so obvious, but actually your finger goes straight to it, horn is there, and then you've also obviously got hazards, kill switch and start there. And so it's got the Suzuki quick start, so you just go, and it will start the bike for you. I didn't use any throttle there because this has got that sort of anti-stall assist system, like a lot of bikes do now, that you don't really need to use the clutch at all on this bike. You pull the clutch in, you don't really have to use the throttle to pull away. It will just pull away like this. Then you can get onto the throttle and then just use the quick shifter so you're not touching the clutch. Air gets denser with temperature, and you can actually sort of, I don't know if you've ever noticed that like the wind resistance on a really cold day, it seems to hit harder. Oh, I'm glad I've got my brain turned on. Tunnel. It is a little bit leery as well, It is a sedate, comfy bike in the sense that, you can ride it nice and sedately. It's got the low down power, it just smoothly goes along. But it can be leery. Like, you drop a gear and give it some decent beans, and the thing reminds you very quickly that it's still 1,000. So I've only got this for a couple of hours, but the thing that is standing out about this is the comfort, it's the smoothness. It's the nice riding position, the ease of control, and it's just suited very nicely for what they've intended it to do, being on it for a lot of hours a day. Now, of course, that doesn't just mean touring, that could mean decent commutes, or it could just be riding for fun. This definitely feels leery and sporty enough from what I've been able to experience so far that it would definitely hit those, you know, sports bike vibes, but with a bit more comfort. And for many, many people, that is what they want. They want to have a bike as fast and as exhilarating as a 1000cc sports bike, but it doesn't destroy their spine or their knees or their back. Of course, shoulders, that's another one, wrists, elbows. Another bit of random braking, I'm guessing. Yep. It's also the lack of vibrations and feel. Like, you get good feedback from the engine. I mean, this is a fly-by-wire throttle, I'm sure, but, you know, it feels very linearly attached. There's not too much jerkiness on pickup. You know, as long as you're smooth picking it up, it's softened out at the beginning. But it's just the engine. You just don't really feel anything. Even when you rev it up, you get a little bit of a vibration, but absolutely not much at all. And the thing is, compared to like my XJ6, and I will always compare things back to my own bikes because I know them so well, my XJ6 is an inline 4. That thing has tons more vibrations in this in comparison. I mean, admittedly, compared to my DR, nothing at all. Now, I will say there isn't a huge amount of engine braking that I've experienced, which is kind of standard for an inline 4 with an assisted clutch. See, not a lot going on there to help slow me down. It does lean nice. As I say, I would really very much like some dry roads to be able to push that, but it is silly to do such a thing. This is why we don't review bikes this time of year normally. But with this early opportunity, I couldn't say no. I believe if you order one of these at the moment, delivery is somewhere around June 2022, so you should get it for the summer. Don't hold me to that. I don't know exactly, you know, in this world currently, everything's sort of delayed and up in the air, but you should get it enough time to enjoy the summer a bit at least. Haslemere, in the summer when it's warmer, let me come down and take this out for like half a day. Maybe I'll go up to like the New Forest or something, do some decent miles on it and sort of give a better perspective on that. Okay, well, I'm back at Haslemere Motorcycles. I'm absolutely frozen, but that was great. That is a very, very pleasant bike to ride. It's quick, it's smooth, it can be leery, it's not scary unless you start opening up and then it starts going, reminding you, as I say, it's 1000. I think it looks really nice, actually. The more I look at it, the more I'm liking it. I think that at 11.5 grand is an absolutely fantastic all-rounder sports type bike, if you want to say, because I've looked at other bikes recently I thought were fantastic all-rounders, but they were from a different perspective. This is from the sort of sports bike perspective, and it's good. It's really good. It's really nice. As I say, there's only so much I can say in a couple of hours. There is only so much I can do when I can't push it that far because of the temperatures and the road conditions, but as a bike to ride, and I've ridden a lot, that was very nice and pleasant. I say thank you to Haslemere Motorcycles. I do hope that I'll come back in the summertime and take one out on a nice sunny day and, you know, have a better idea of its handling performance with more leans and things. But even in, you know, these conditions, I didn't find that, you know, unmanageable. It's very light to control. Even the slow manoeuvring. A few times I did some U-turns and things where I stopped and checked my cameras. If you enjoyed this video, please smack that like button. I would really appreciate it. If you'd like to hit the subscribe button as well. I do lots of bike reviews. If you go through my playlist, there's tons of them. I'm also on my way to 100k and I'm so close, and I would really appreciate your help on that. And also, if you'd like to help support this channel through Patreon, because this channel is only possible through the help of the support of the audience, I would also very much appreciate that too. Links in the description. There's many benefits to that, including getting the Discord videos early and all sorts of other stuff. Yeah, otherwise, thank you very much, Haslemere. I'm now going to go and get very acquainted with your heater. People, if you want to know where it is, you walk in through the front door, turn left, and it's there. Pretty in the sun as well. Anyway, bye-bye, bye-bye.